there! Welcome back to another video on my channel. Today I'm going to be doing another personal type video, I guess. Again, I apologize if you can hear any noise in the background. Douglas is also working from home, but he's working in the bathroom for me just so I can record this video. So thank you, Douglas. That's very sweet of you. So yeah, I'm making another personal video. You guys probably don't know this, but last week was my husband's birthday. He turned 31 on the 16th, and if you have seen videos on my channel, you know I typically like to do Pokemon videos for family members on their birthdays about what kind of Pokemon team they have and who they would be in the Pokemon universe. So I'm going to do that today for Douglas. And this one was probably the hardest one out of all of them I've done so far. So if you're excited to see what my husband would be like if he lived in the Pokemon universe, then just keep on watching. Okay, so we're back. Hello. Like I said, this is going to be a very difficult one for me because Douglas's team is kind of all over the place. Basically, well, okay, I'm going to preface this video by saying most of Douglas's Pokemon he likes aesthetically, or he does actually like, tend to be bug Pokemon. And I told him if he wanted to have a whole team of bug Pokemon, that's totally fine too, because like I said, I did that for my sister. If you want to check out her video, she basically pretty much had a team of all ghost Pokemon. And so I was able to do a pretty in-depth video on her about that. And even though she had just a mono team. But Douglas didn't want to do that. He specifically tried to pick Pokemon that were different in type or design. If you want to know how he picked these Pokemon, I'm going to leave a link to the AI in the description below. Basically, I make everybody do this, where it is a software kind of thing, I guess, that will show you which Pokemon you tend to gravitate towards based on the choices of would you rather kind of thing. I've done it for my other videos, and I'll put it in this description too, just so you guys get a sense of, if you want to check out, figure it out for your own team, you can too. But enough of that, let me get into the actual team. So Douglas's team consists of, and I'm going to list these off in order of preference. So the first one's going to be the one he likes the most. And so it's going to go Scyther, Flareon, Cofagrigus, Pangoro, Vikavolt, and Barraskewda, which again threw me for a loop because he's the only person I know that actually likes Barraskewda. If you like Barraskewda, I'm sorry, it's just not on my radar. So I had this team, and I kept thinking okay, well, Douglas is from Brazil, so I should probably start him off in a tropical place or whatever. But I'm not going to do that just because his team has 2 Kanto Pokemon and the rest are from different regions. But anyway, but I think his team makes sense to who he is. So I'm going to start off with the first one being Scyther. This is hands down Douglas's favorite Pokemon, and it makes complete and total sense in terms of personality. So Scyther is supposed to be a really intimidating bug Pokemon. It's got nice for hands and does, I think even the Pokedex they reference it being almost ninja-like and cutting things really fast. It's a really fast Pokemon. And Douglas, his personality, he's obsessed with different types of cultures. So he also has an affinity for Japanese culture as well, and definitely went through a phase of, I don't know if you guys remember when parkour was popular, but Douglas definitely went through that phase. So I think aesthetically and in terms of interest, this would be a natural selection for Douglas to grow up with. Also, even though he grew up in Brazil, I feel it's a Pokemon that would fit in a Brazilian environment. He grew up in the city at different points in his life, but he also has family that resides in the country, and he grew up on a farm too, with cows and banana trees and all sorts of stuff like that. But I feel Scyther would be a very handy Pokemon in that situation as well. And it being a bug type, I think you guys should know that Douglas is afraid of spiders. And I think it's really ironic how he gravitates towards bug type and even like spider looking Pokemon, even though he's terrified of them in real life. And I feel like it's such a growing concept to me to be able to like hang around something you're naturally kind of afraid of. And Douglas kind of does that where he challenges himself to kind of grow as a person anyway. So I feel like on all these different levels, Scyther really fits him and would probably be like his main Pokemon, I guess, out of his whole team. And I'm gonna place it kind of like as his star Pokemon in this scenario because like he doesn't really have any star Pokemon, but I'm thinking about like him growing up and just having this thing with him all the time. I think that's kind of the narrative we're going for. It isn't until he grows up and moves out of the house where he finds his second Pokemon in Flareon, which I have a doll of conveniently. So actually, when Douglas and I were dating, we went on a Walmart date because we both went to school in southern Indiana and there's nothing else to do besides go to Walmart. So we went on a Walmart date once and we picked up some Pokemon dolls and he saw Flareon for the first time. Like, Douglas is kind of into Pokemon, but not really. Not really. It's way more my thing. But he saw Flareon and he thought it was adorable. Like, he loves Eevee. And I think a lot of people do, but his favorite evolution, hands down, is the Flareon. So I picked up a Vaporeon, and he got a Flareon. And it's one of his favorite Pokemon to this day. I think he's kind of unique in that, because I think Flareon gets a bad rep in terms of, like, popularity amongst the other evolutions. I think it's one of the more least popular ones, in my opinion. But he adores it. And I remember in its Pokemon description that the Pokedex mentioned something about like it not being found in the wild and can only be found in cities. So this makes me think of kind of like a house pet type of thing, which I think fits Douglas as well because the first thing he did when he went off to college or when he was done with college was move to Sao Paulo, which is one of like the biggest cities in the world. So I could easily see him picking up this to be a little less lonely or to have a house pet around. Of course, this could be like a spoiled little thing. He's always wanted like a cat. I don't think these qualify as cats. They kind of look like cats, but I'm allergic to cats, so we can't have one. But I feel like this would also fit his need for something cute and something like more cuddly than a Scyther, even though Scyther's great. Those knives do not make for hugs. So I think that's how he would come into being with this Flareon. So he's got the two of them, right? And then where do we go from here with all these other Pokemon all over the place? So I think the theme of Douglas's team or Douglas's journey is just travel for the sake of travel. Douglas has always been somebody who's very into travel. When he was a young man, he came over to the U.S. on a college scholarship, Science Without Borders, and really made the most of his time here, obviously. That's how we met, and now he's living here with me in Boston. But he's always had this adventurous spirit about him, and we definitely have more places. Most of the time when we sit down and talk to each other, it's literally just planning trips, and with COVID and everything else that's going on, we really can't do that as much. We had trips planned to go to Japan and Switzerland, but those got canceled, unfortunately. So we're trying to figure out stuff to do domestically or places to go domestically. But anyway, side note, he loves traveling, right? That's all he wants to do for the rest of his life. He doesn't want to put roots down anywhere, pretty much. He is really adverse to the idea of owning a house because he sees that as like a compromise of mobility. So this man's just all over the place, right? So if Douglas was in his own little Pokemon world, I think he would just go everywhere just to see everything and be like a tourist. So here comes his Pokemon, right? So I think the first place he would probably go to would be where he gets his third favorite Pokemon, Cofagrigus. Unova is based in the U.S., although Cofagrigus is definitely more of an Egyptian-style Pokemon. But I feel like this fits because Douglas loves the U.S., period. He's always liked it here. He likes American culture a lot. But he also has this really, like, he's also jazzed about Egyptian culture, too. He's really into, like, mummies in ancient Egypt, and you know how you were a kid and you're basically either a dragon's kid or an Egypt kid? I was a dragon kid and he was an Egypt kid. So he's really into documentaries about ancient Egyptian culture and kind of romanticizes it a lot. So I think that's where most of the appeal for Cofagrigus comes from. But he goes to Unova, goes in the deserts, talks to all the ruined maniacs and stuff like that, and eventually gets himself his own Cofagrigus. I think it's also fitting because Cofagrigus kind of like lures people in and traps them and mummifies them. It's really creepy. It's sneaky. I love my husband, but he tries to be sneaky. He's not always. He doesn't always achieve it, but I feel like this fits his vibe of something like lurking from the shadows. He's kind of like also like a wannabe like he doesn't like horror movies and stuff like that, but he likes spooky things. He likes cryptoids and things like that. So I feel like Cofagrigus would fit that aesthetic pretty well. So yeah, that's his like Egyptian US fantasy achieved right there. For his fourth Pokemon, Pangoro, obviously this is something you can find in France, although obviously this is a Pokemon with a lot of Asian influences. Again, if we're meshing up cultures in the theme of travel, Douglas and I have mentioned going to Europe before. I know he wants to go to Italy pretty badly. France is on this list. We've talked about going to Eastern Europe and Switzerland. So let's just throw Kalos, even though it's supposed to be just French, we'll just make it European in general, I guess. But that being said, Pangoro is a panda. Pandas are from China. But, you know, I think I love this Pokemon. It's one of my favorite ones. And when I played Kalos for the first time, like I picked up a Pancham right away. I thought it was absolutely adorable. So this is a Pokemon that we have in common in terms of like things we like and aesthetics. But I also like this Pokemon because, he obviously doesn't know, right? He doesn't know things about the lore and things like that. That's a common thing in my videos when I make it about families, that they do not know the backstory. So I always find like the happy little coincidences when things match up in terms of personality. And in this case, it does. So Pangoro is a dark and fighting type Pokemon. I think Douglas likes it because it looks edgy and dark, which is like a theme. But its personality is one where it really, really doesn't like bullying. And kind of just puts an end to it. Like, he just swings with his big, long arms. But it really emphasized the fact that Pangoro does not like bullies. And I think Douglas is the same way. He isn't necessarily, like, a freedom fighter by any means. But he does feel impacted about when people are getting picked on for, like, no reason and stuff like that. And he is sympathetic to that. We've both gone through some bullying when we were kids. I think a lot of people do. But I feel like in his case, he kind of had to be. In my case, I never really cared. Like, I mean, some people try to bully me, right? But my personality is to laugh things off, right? I think that's just who I am. I'm the kind of person that's like, okay, you say my hair is weird, okay, whatever. I don't mind, because guess who's wearing it? Not you, you know? And I just kind of like laugh it off and do my own thing. I'm pretty self-confident in that way. But Douglas kind of internalizes things differently. And when he was bullied, it definitely made him a little tougher, I guess. You know, like, I feel like men in general internalize things like that. But he really like looked inward and kind of had to be like a big tough guy instead, or whatever. And I think Pangoro kind of mirrors that. So I think it's a really good fit. He also liked the stick in the mouth kind of thing, and I feel like that's kind of almost like a cowboy type thing. I don't know. Maybe they have it in other types of movies too, but I just know the stick in the mouth thing as like a very cowboy thing growing up in US. So again, it's this mishmashing of cultures, right? And I think that's really the big overarching theme in Douglas's story. So so I think that's all how Pangoro fits in. The fifth Pokemon on this list is Vikavolt. So this is a bug, an electric type. And yes, there's multiple bugs on this list. There would have been more, I think. Maybe I'll do a video of Douglas being a bug type gym leader. Maybe when I talk about bug type gym leader stuff, I'll just do Douglas instead of me, because I really think he would be a really good bug type gym leader. But Vikavolt, yeah. So Vikavolt can obviously be found in Alola. Alola has a lot of crossover between Johto, which is Japanese, and Hawaii, which again is part of U.S. culture. I've talked about going to Hawaii forever. Douglas isn't as enthusiastic about it because, again, he's like from a tropical place. He doesn't really see the need to go to another one, but I think Hawaii is beautiful, and we'll probably end up going there, so it's fine. That being said, we have stayed at like Polynesian themed resorts before, but never like on an island, which I really want to go to. But Vikavolt, I still think is fitting. He likes it because it looks like a beetle. That's what he said when I asked, because I asked him like why he picked the certain things he did. But he said he liked it because it looks like a beetle, and I knew from the get-go when I started playing Alola that he would be really into this Pokemon or like other electric type Pokemon from Alola specifically, just because he kind of reminds me of the electric type, not gym leader, but master or whatever they're called. I think his name's Sophocles. But yeah, they remind me of the same like gamer guy aesthetics. Douglas is a computer programmer, so I think that fits in the. And again, he doesn't know any of this because he didn't play this game. But I think Sophocles' personality, the fact that he has a Vikavolt on his team, and that there's this relationship between electric and steel, and it's very like tech genius type thing, fits in quite a lot. He doesn't know the pre-evolution is like Charge-a-Bug and things like that, which I think is kind of cute. But yeah, it's this inherent mix of like organic and inorganic, technology and like nature and bugs and insects. And I think that's what really like attracted to him. And again, his personality, like he is a tech guy. He's really into computers, or just not necessarily like computer software, but like what he can do with computers in terms of programming. Like he makes his own apps for fun. So he is that kind of guy, and I think Vikavolt is a Pokemon that's designed for that kind of person, So yeah, that's Vikavolt. I think it easily fits in. Okay, Barraskewda. So this last one was the hardest. I'm not gonna lie, it's not that I dislike this Pokemon, but I do. But Barraskewda is basically one of the newer Pokemon that came from Galar. Galar is Great Britain, as I think everybody knows. We haven't really talked about going to England per se, but I think, again, it's just part of the travel theme. But it's kind of based on a Barracuda and a torpedo type thing from like a battleship. And that makes sense because UK, Britain, Navy, that's what they're known for, the colonialism in the Navy. Woohoo. But I asked Douglas why he picked this Pokemon, and he said he wanted a fish and it looked like a piranha. So he picked that, which I'm like, I wish it was a piranha, Then that would make sense more with like the Brazilian theme, but it's not. It's a barracuda. Barracudas live in the middle of the ocean. I just know that because of Finding Nemo, and it was really scary in the opening scene. I think he also picked this because of the edgy and the teeth things. He assumed it to be a lot bigger than what it is. So, I don't know. It's fine though. It makes sense. It's part of the edgy thing. I tried looking more into it, kind of, but that's what I got. But I still think that it fits the idea of world travel. It's just by being part of a boat and a Navy type theme. And that maybe Douglas finds this Pokemon in between the journeys to these different places and not necessarily like going to Galar specifically for it. Maybe he travels by the ocean on his way to some place and encounters a Barraskewda trying to attack the ship and then gets it that way. He felt like he needed a water type, so there you go. I feel like that was like kind of half-assed and lazy, but I am sorry. But no, I can see that fitting in where it's just attacking a ship and he gets it and then ends up, bonding with it and training with it and doing it that way. So yeah, I guess in terms of trainer class, I don't know. I know Garrett was like more of the main character in his story, and I think Douglas could be too, but I could also just see him as being like a tourist class or one of the people, because they had tourists on Alola that talked about being from Johto and things like that, and maybe Douglas could be part of a trainer class like that or a new one that has Pokemon from all sorts of different regions. I know ace trainers tend to do that, and maybe eventually he can be an ace trainer too, but I really think that theme of travel and trying to mix into different cultures is more prevalent in this team, so that's why I would lean towards something like a tourist class. Yeah, if he was an NPC, because like I said, I made Adrian kind of like an NPC in the fact that she would eventually become a gym leader. My mom's an NPC because she's a mom. But yeah, so that's my team for Douglas, my Mr. Touristy man. Yeah. Okay, and that's it. Douglas, I hope you watched this. I know you're probably already hearing me and hearing all of this, but I love you very much, and I'm happy to have done this for you. I know we've been putting it off, and you've just been kind of like about it, but I don't know. I liked being able to see this side of you. It makes me learn more about you, and I know we've probably learned plenty about each other during quarantine in our first a year of marriage, but I love you. If you are watching this and you are not my husband, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found it entertaining at least and maybe learned something more about the people in my life. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like, comment down below, and share it with a friend. And if you'd like to support the channel even further, feel free to subscribe. You're already here. Probably have other videos popping up here soon that you guys are probably going to like, so feel free to check them out too. And until next time, thanks. Bye!